Welcome to r/Askwomen by Reddit replay. Have you ever been stood up on a date before? What happened? Yes. Except, I wasn't just stood up. I was supposed to meet my date for the opening night of a movie. I waited until the movie was about to start. They never showed. I ended up buying my ticket and popcorn and going to the movie alone. When I got to my seat, I looked down the row and the R is sitting there with another date. I was so pissed. Then, they had the nerve to text me the next day to say sorry and ask me out again. Obviously, I said no. Cheesecake Factory. Twice. Same guy. I don't remember what he told me, but it was well over an hour after the scheduled date, and I was sitting outside, my phone about to die. And he tells me he can't make it. I decide to reschedule. Second time, I'm constantly texting, because I'm going to be 30 minutes late, because I didn't account for downtown parking on a Friday night. And I call him when I get there. I've been texting and haven't heard back. It sounds like he's at a party. And it's super hard to hear him. And he asks me if I want to go drive an hour and a half north to meet him. I was running a D&D game in 2.5 hours and he knew this. I said no, and he hung up. Another guy I was casually dating came to give me the date I deserved. I made things awkward by calling him my friend to the server. It was a really nice date. Him and I dated exclusively for a while after that. The guy who stood me up, whose name I can't even remember, then tried to friend request me on Facebook like a month later. I laughed and rejected his friend request. I probably blocked him too. I asked this guy out, and we set a time, 2 PM on a Sunday, and place. We didn't message each other for the rest of the week, which is fine for me, but maybe should have been a red flag. The morning of our date, I message him and ask if we are still on for 2. I never hear back, but figure he's busy or something. I show up on time and wait. Almost 2 hours later, he texts me to say that he got hung up and was sorry he couldn't make it. I said no worries and unmatched ASAP. I was more annoyed than hurt, only because he could have messaged me at any time and called it off. A couple of years ago a guy and I had plans to spend St. Patrick's Day together. You know, bar crawl, eat food, enjoy the holiday. The day of he's texting me, telling me how excited he is about the date. And then when it's time for him to pick me up he never showed up. I was so mad. I had a full face makeup on and a cute outfit, just to end up watching The Office and eating pizza. A couple of days pass by, and he decides to text me like nothing happened. When I confront him about St. Patrick's Day he said that he was having back pain and took a sleeping pill. I ignored him after that. Totally. I was 17 and I'd just gotten over a sickness that made me lose a bunch of weight before I was heavy and suffered from low self-esteem. I worked at the local library and was returning from a trip to see family in CA and basically got a makeover while I was there. I was emptying the trash cans, glamorous, I know, and this really cute guy asked me to dinner later that week. We exchanged numbers and we agreed to meet at the Huddle House, an off-brand Waffle House for non-Southerners. Should been my first red flag, at 7 PM, after I got off work. I called him before I left to let him know I was on my way, but he didn't answer, so I left a message. Second red flag. I went to the restaurant and got there early. I don't remember how long I waited for him, but I brought a book to read and ended up ordering dinner. He never showed. I went home and cried to my dad about it. I've since learned that I don't leave the house unless I get a confirmation call or text lol. I knew him through mutual friends and we matched on Tinder. After a days of talking, we agreed to meet at a local restaurant and he never showed. Turns out, I was being catfished. The catfisher used his pictures and his name and played along when I mentioned we met once. The real person is actually gay, and it was an awkward conversation when I asked him why he stood me up when I ran into him a few weeks later. I should have known it was a catfish because they never Snapchatted me a picture of their face, but I never doubted it since I had met the real him in person. Yes. I know I'm stupid. We were set to meet at a cafe downtown at 7 p.m. It was our third date, and he'd been nearly half an hour late to both of the first two. So 7:10 came, and I waited. 7:15. 7:30. 7:45. Just, I fished out my phone to text him and ask what the duck he left me waiting there for. When I looked at our message history, I saw the message where we set the date, Wednesday at 7 p.m. It was currently Tuesday. I went home and met him again the next night. He was still late, but I owned up to my mistake as a funny story and we laughed it off. That relationship didn't end up lasting long because of the lateness issue, but at least he didn't actually ditch me. I met a guy on the subway. It was like something out of a romance novel. We flirted for weeks, and then one day I leaned over and whispered into his ear as I was getting off my stop, "One of these days you are going to ask me out, right?" The next day he asked me out in rather broken English. No problem. We went on 2 dates and they were amazing. The third date, we agreed to meet at a park. I thought I would surprise him with some tickets to Blue Man Group as I got discount tickets through my school. It seemed like a fun third date kind of thing. He never showed up. I called and texted. Nada. I ended up calling a friend last minute and asking her if she wanted to go see the show with me, otherwise I would be going by myself. She showed up a half hour later. Subway dude called the next day, apologizing and said he had to work. Okay, sure, but why not call or text me then? And then he said that Brazilian women, where he was from, wouldn't care. And I told him, well, this American woman doesn't like being stood up. Goodbye. I never saw him again. Thanks for watching. If you are new to the channel, subscribe for your daily dose of Reddit. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check out another video. And have an awesome day, you wonderful people.